Hey guys, before we start this episode, I wanted to talk to you about Type 1 lifting. So, Type 1 lifting is a clothing line that proceeds of the shirts and tanks and everything else goes to the Children's Diabetes Foundation. This all came about with me and seeing a 5-year-old girl in the emergency department that had new onset of diabetes. Just take a look at the website. It's www.type1lifting.com. So just check it out. If you don't buy anything, that's perfectly fine. I would just like for you just to take a look and just see what we have. So, like I said before, www.type1lifting.com. And guys, I hope you enjoy the show. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Liftoff. Thank you for tuning in. So today I got a lot to talk about for this week's podcast. This week for my training wise, I follow CompTrain. So we just did a deload week, which is, which is perfectly fine because I kind of tweaked my back at a trampoline park, playing with my kids. And, I was acting like a kid as well. And being a 40-year-old man, 41-year-old man, doesn't really, bode well with jumping super, super high on these trampolines and trying to stop. Tweak my back a little bit. It's okay. Just kind of nursed it a little bit this week. And hopefully, once Monday kicks around, I can start back up again, going full force. So we'll see what happens. But also, I am working from home again. When COVID was like really, really rampant, um, they had us working from home pretty much all the way from believe February to August. We had a little scare in our office. And so I told myself, I'm not risking it. It's not worth it. I haven't gotten COVID yet, knock on wood, but we had a little scared. So I decided that, and I told my company that I want to work from home again, which they let me because of me being a diabetic. That's one of the top things on the list for, people that are in danger with COVID. I'm actually working in my basement where I work out. I have a little desk propped up and a computer and an awful chair, which I definitely need to look into getting a different chair that actually leans back or something. But I actually did. I have this little island that I put on the running machine, and I put my computer on it, and so right where the arm handles are, and I just start doing my work on that while I'm walking on the treadmill. It has helped me out, and also I've been doing some other little exercises while I'm taking a little breather since I'm down in the basement. Might as well get the most of this gym basement. So we'll see what happens. But some really big news in the CrossFit space. So Eric Roza was on Talking Elite Fitness podcast. I believe it was last week, and uh, great episode. If you haven't heard that yet, I highly recommend listening to it. So he talks about, CrossFit, how he got it, and what he's learning, and pretty much what he plans on moving forward. Um, the interesting thing that I heard from him was he wants to have 500,000 people do the open. I believe he said by next year. Don't quote me on that, but I thought that was super interesting where you had, I believe it was 300,000 people uh, in 2018, and then 2019 it dropped down to, I believe it was like 230 because a lot of people were burnt out from literally doing the open, the year before, and they had a couple of months until they had to do it over again. Um, I thought that was really interesting. And also, he's adding in an adaptive athlete section for the Open, which I thought was pretty cool. So, because they didn't never had that before, and doing that, brings in more people to the CrossFit community, and getting them in the Open, getting them involved, which I think it was super cool. And also, he did mention an online CrossFit Level 1 certification, which I think is huge. Granted, in person is a lot better. I actually do a lot better in person learning than on the computer, but I think this is great, especially during the whole COVID thing. that no one really can go out and actually do the CrossFit level one because of like restrictions state by state. But I think online is great. I think it can be equal to the in-person level one, but some people may not think that. But you're learning the same thing. And if you've been doing this, if you've been doing CrossFit for a long period of time, and actually, listening to podcasts, reading, studying, and just like understanding more of the functional fitness and fitness realm, I think that certification is perfectly fine. Um, and then the big news that dropped, I believe it was a couple days ago. Ben Bergeron put a picture of Brooke Wells on his Instagram page saying that he is not coaching Brooke Wells anymore, and she's moving on to another company, someone else to coach her, which I thought was super interesting because this is the highest uh, position that she's got, and she placed fifth. Granted, because she had a bunch of hiccups that did happen during the games, but this is the highest she's ever been in CrossFit. And I do CompTrain. I love it. I think it's a great program to do. You have some shortened, workouts, or you can do a little bit longer. But I thought it was interesting. I'm kind of curious of where she's gonna go. So she lives in like a little south of Nashville, and there's a couple other guys. Will Morad, and I believe there was another guy. I forget his name, but they train in the same gym in Nashville. So I think she might be jumping over to training with them, or Froning's Mayhem team is, I believe it's like 2 hours away from where she is now. So she may jump over to there, but we'll see what happens. I'm kind of curious to see where she's gonna be coached by. Chief O'Keefe hasn't said anything. He's kind of keeping his mouth shut because personally, yeah, I mean, I agree. It's really not his place to let the world know where she's going to train at. So, yeah, super interesting, and we'll see what happens. I love to hear you guys comment on that too. So, where do you think she might go, which would be super interesting. So, and also in February, the CrossFit Open is almost coming around the corner. So I hope you guys are ready. There's some programming that's starting they're starting their cycle right at the time of when their cycle is going to be over, right at the time when the open starts. The Misfit programming, they just started a new cycle, which they even said on their podcast is leading into the open. I've done Misfit for a couple of years before CompTrain. The reason why I am not doing Misfit anymore is because they wanted to. There was like I was being cheap. There's a $10 a month. Um, I think it's up to $12 now a month for a membership just to keep on with their programming. I'm really considering starting back up again with that, but we'll see what happens. And also, the other programming I follow right now is CompTrain. So we just finished our deload week this week, and I believe next week and the rest of the time is going to ramp up into the open as well. I don't know the rest of the program because the online app doesn't go, like, I can't see what's ahead. So I'm kind of curious if they're actually going to do another deload week before the open or just keep it going all the way to the open. So we'll see what happens, but I'm kind of interested in this, but I may go over to Misfit to start that cycle. But we'll see what happens. I'm kind of up in the air. I have a training partner I work out with, and we're kind of in the talks of, should we keep on doing CompTrain or should we stick with the Misfit Athletics programming? But we'll see what happens. So the last thing I want to talk about is obviously Thanksgiving is this Thursday. There are three things that I am really grateful for. Um, the first thing, I am grateful for the opportunity to give you guys, great, hopefully that you think a great guest, and learning about diabetes and fitness and how both of them, work with each other, not really work with each other, but, what other people feel when they get highs and lows, or how they train, and, all that with diabetes. And just so you guys get to know, what it's like being a diabetic. The second thing is I'm grateful for. I am grateful for the amount of people that actually cheer me on, and I'm grateful that I've actually hit my PRs on my list, like the 315 clean and jerk, and I believe I almost hit the 235 snatch. It was close, but um, I'm grateful for the support that I've gotten through that, and I'm also grateful for my family. My wife, my kids, they go through a lot with me being a diabetic, from, me getting lows or highs. I have to take a break. I have to do this. And, I see, you know, my wife, my wife's face when she gets a little bit disappointed, and I understand too, but I can't help it sometimes. But, they understand what's going on, and they actually do support me, which I really do appreciate it. And my family back up in Massachusetts as well, I'm thankful for them. They're always, talk to me and see how I'm doing. Granted, because I haven't really seen them that much, and my wife and I, actually my whole family and I, were planning to go up to Massachusetts to see, my mom and dad, and my siblings. But obviously COVID hit, and I haven't had the chance to do it. So um, those are three of the things I'm grateful for. I have a whole bunch more, but I you probably don't want to hear all of it. So, but once again, thank you very much for tuning into this podcast. I forgot to do the listener questions last week. I do this week. I do apologize, but I will be more. Um, I'll be posting more on social media just for questions for the show, and give you guys my thoughts, or might be my 2 cents, or I'll just do a little bit of research as well, because obviously I don't want to give you guys the wrong information, and we'll see what happens. So be on the lookout for the listener questions, and I hope you guys have a great Turkey Day. Hopefully your sugars won't go up like crazy, but um, just be thankful that you're breathing, you have family members that are safe, and yeah, enjoy that turkey. All right. All right. I'll talk to you guys later.